Everyone knows that email marketing makes money, but most people don't understand how it actually translates to more dollars in your bank account. In this video, I'm going to be breaking down the 5 ways that your email marketing actually translates to more profit and more money in your bank account so you can keep scaling your brand. And I'll also be going over some crucial mistakes you need to avoid. This video is designed to break down a ton of myths, misconceptions, and arguments about how email marketing might not actually be effective for your businesses in 2025. I won't lie, this is going to be based on things that I've actually seen from working with more than 120 brands and generating more than $80 million through email marketing in the last 12 months. As a little bit of a teaser, these are things like when brands only want to track campaign revenue, they don't appreciate the benefit of A/B testing, they don't properly pay attention to their flows, they don't understand attribution. When most brands first come on and partner with us, they're only really concerned about 2 of the 5 things that I'm about to run you through. Yet understanding all 5 of these things is imperative as a business owner so you can know exactly what is going to move the needle inside your email marketing channel. Let's get into it. So the first benefit we're going to be going over here is actually slightly indirect. And it's the 2 ways that your email marketing can actually make your paid advertising much more efficient. Firstly, let's talk about allocating your ad spend. Most brands do not even pay attention to this. With the cost of ads quickly increasing, it's never been more important to pay attention to where your ad spend is actually going to ensure that it's dialed in and you're actually spending as efficiently as possible. Now you might be thinking, how does email marketing even influence what happens on the ads channel? Well, let me explain. Email and SMS is the lifeblood of generating revenue from something you actually own. On ads, you're renting impressions. With your email list, this is something you own. This is an asset that belongs to your business that you can tap into whenever you like. If this is dialed in, most of your repeat customer revenue should either come from your email and SMS marketing, organic traffic, or repeat customers who just love your product and come back on their own will. So you should be minimizing the amount of ad spend that is going towards these repeat customers that you can tap into for free in other channels. It's okay for sure to spend a portion of your ad spend on repeat customers. There's always going to be lapsed customers who can't be tapped into in these channels, and it makes sense and it is incremental to spend ads on these people. But ideally, for every dollar you put into your ads channel, you want to make sure that you're getting incremental dollars back. So if there's customers that you can get back into your business without having to put dollars into that ads channel, you want to be maximizing that. This usually means that the main goal of your paid advertising should be to attract new customers, and you should be tracking this ruthlessly. Secondly, once your email and SMS is dialed and you're getting a good portion of your repeat customer revenue through this channel, you can actually afford to spend more money on ads to acquire customers. If you're confident in a strong LTV and you actually know your numbers, this gives you much more wiggle room to spend on your CAC. For example, say right now your LTV is $100 and you know you can afford to spend $30 on a customer. That's great, that's your budget. You can't spend more than that $30 or you start to lose money and it doesn't make sense to scale. But if you take your LTV to $150, that means your CAC then becomes $60, or your appropriate CAC or your break-even CAC or whatever you want to call it becomes $60, and you can now afford to spend twice as much on acquiring customers than you could before. This unlocks a new height of scale because other brands, they might still only be able to spend that $30. You're going to be able to outcompete them, outscale them, because you can spend twice as much to acquire customers than they can. This is a huge competitive advantage. Now, a final note here before we move on to the second part, your email revenue is actually a much higher driver of profit than you may think. First order purchases that are acquired through ads are often much less profitable than a repeat customer. This is because you need to acquire that, well, you need to spend that ad spend rather to acquire that customer. So in that first order, you've absorbed your $30, $40, $50, or $60 CAC, whatever it may be. After that, if you're relying on the channels like email, SMS, organic, goodwill to bring people back, those subsequent orders are going to be much more profitable because you've already absorbed that CAC in the first purchase. So $1 of revenue driven through a channel like email is not the same as $1 of revenue driven through a channel like ads because it costs much more to get this dollar through ads than it did through email. So would you rather make $10,000 through an email list or $10,000 through ads? Of course, you need both because your ads are going to drive your email list. But in the long run, repeat customer revenue through your email marketing channel or your SMS marketing channel is much more profitable. The bottom line here, better email marketing means you can afford a higher CAC, which means you can scale faster. Let's move on to the second driver here, or the second point I wanted to make in this video, which is your 2 main pillars of email marketing, your campaigns and your flows. These are the 2 simplest or most obvious ways that email marketing makes revenue for your business. However, surprisingly, we've had clients in the past who are adamant on only tracking campaign revenue when it comes to the performance of their email marketing channel. But this is just scratching the surface in terms of how email can actually generate additional dollars in your bank account. The first function of an email campaign is obvious. You send the campaign, people click it, people buy a product. Simple. Now, there's a caveat. Obviously, not every email campaign sent and not every buyer from an email campaign is incremental. I spoke about incrementality before. Someone who is about to purchase or has recently seen an ad could also get a very timely email campaign, click it, and they were probably going to purchase anyway, and that will attribute to your email marketing. But hold that thought because I will get to attribution later in this video. Campaigns also have other functions like building hype, educating customers, breaking down objections, and a myriad of other things which I'm sure you understand. But there is a second function to your email campaigns that people often neglect. We just spoke about how campaigns can sometimes over-attribute, but oftentimes campaigns can actually under-attribute their success. The reason for this is because people who often click your email campaigns and don't convert straight away end up in one of your email flows. For example, let's pretend I'm a customer. I get an email from you, I click it, I land on your website, I view a product or I add it to cart or I start checkout, but I don't convert. What's gonna happen next is I'm then gonna end up, hopefully if you have them, in one of those email flows, your browse abandonment, your cart abandonment, your checkout abandonment. And there's a good chance I then convert inside that email flow. So sending that campaign, although the revenue might not attribute directly to that campaign, actually led to more revenue in your email flows. I'm gonna pull up an example on the screen here. Take these 3 campaigns for this brand. They had 100, 150 clicks on those campaigns, 10-ish sales converted and attributed to those campaigns. But go and look at the side-by-side flow revenue for this brand. The browse abandonment, the cart abandonment, the checkout abandonment, all had thousands of dollars in attributed revenue. Now, the thing with your email flows is a lot of the traffic going through these flows are people who are already on your email list. They're not anonymous visitors. So the way they get into these flows is because you send the campaigns, you get the clicks, you send the traffic back to your website, and you trigger the flows. Frequent, consistent campaign sends are a huge driver of revenue, not just for campaigns, but for your email flows. You cannot forget this. Now, enough of campaigns, let's move on to flows, the second part I wanted to touch on here. Obviously, flows are pretty undisputed. Unlike campaigns that can be sent whenever you want and can sometimes over-attribute out of coincidence, flows only trigger on the back of certain behavior and certain actions taken on your website. For example, someone abandons a checkout, they get your abandoned checkout email, then they convert. Any improvement you can make to these flows by A/B testing is a huge driver of incrementality. For example, say you've got an abandoned checkout flow right now. It has a 1% click rate. You're sending 1% of everyone who got that email back to your website. That's great. What if you were able to run an A/B test and get that flow to a 1.5% click rate? That represents a 50% increase of the amount of clickers back to your website. And if all else holds equal, that should correlate directly to 50% more revenue coming from that flow email. The incrementality of improving your email flows through A/B testing or any other improvements that you make cannot be forgotten. Now, a common argument against flows is that, well, these people could have bought anyway. They might get your abandoned checkout email, but they might have been planning to come back and purchase anyway, and they got a timely abandoned checkout email, sure. Say that is true. Say I'm a customer, I've abandoned a checkout, I'm waiting for payday, which is next week, or I forgot my wallet, I couldn't find my Apple Pay, wasn't working, and I was gonna place an order in 7 days time. Say I get your abandoned checkout email tomorrow instead. I open it, I decide, oh, actually my Apple Pay is working again, I'll just buy it right now. So I was gonna purchase anyway, I was gonna purchase next week, but now I've purchased 6 days earlier. A lot of businesses will look at that and be like, well, it's not incremental, that customer was going to buy anyway. The email just brought forward that purchase. But you've just reduced your sale conversion window by 6 days. That is a huge driver for cash flow, which is a massive pain point in e-commerce and a huge driver for e-commerce brands. If you can improve your sale conversion window or the time it takes to turn over your inventory, that's a massive driver in your profitability and your ability to reinvest into more stock. By not improving your flows, you are missing out on direct incremental revenue inside your business. There is literally no excuse for not continuing to iterate, improve, and test your email flow. Like I pointed out, at the very, very least, if you want to argue that these customers would have bought anyway, you are reducing your sale conversion window. But realistically, any improvement inside your flows is going to directly correlate to an improvement in cart recoveries, session recoveries, checkout recoveries, which otherwise you probably wouldn't have gotten, which is incremental revenue for your business and more dollars in your bank account. So to summarize here, send campaigns because they influence revenue directly through clicks and purchases and indirectly through improving traffic through your flows. Campaigns may over-attribute revenue, which I will get to later in this video, but they also may under-attribute revenue because they send revenue to the flows. Every slight improvement in your flow performance in click rates leads to more revenue for your business, both by improving the rate in which you recover things like carts and checkouts, but by also reducing your sales conversion window on those customers who may have bought anyway. Now, driver 3, and a very common misconception, your email list growth. Now, email list growth is not as black and white as people make it out to be. A lot of people will say, if you grow your email list, that's great. I want to keep growing my email list. I need more and more people. The bigger the list, the better. But the misconception here is what matters most. And it's not the sheer size of your email list. For example, we've had clients, one of them say has 200,000 people on their email list, one of them has 50,000 people on their email list. You'd think hypothetically the store that has 4 times more people on their email list should be making 4 times more money. That's not often the case. I've often seen brands who have 4 times less email subscribers making more money than the brand who has much higher of an email list. If the goal was sheer number of email subscribers, all you would do is run crazy giveaways and promotions to just attract people to your email list. It would be easy. You could get 1 million people in a few months just by running crazy giveaways on Facebook. What actually matters most is the quality of the subscribers you're adding to your email list. It's a quality over quantity thing. You want people joining your email list who are actually a chance of buying your product. That should be the main thing you're measuring for here. Now, inherently, if you're growing your email list the way normal people do, which is draw a pop-up form on your website, and if that pop-up form is something like get 10% or $10 off your first order, you're going to be attracting people who are interested in buying your product as it's a financial incentive. So in that case, getting more subscribers on your pop-up form is a net positive thing. And now platforms like Alia, which you might have heard of, they've taken things to the next level where you can even actually handle objections from your customers live through a pop-up form. I'm not going to show you in this video, but things that they're doing at the moment over at Alia are absolutely insane and are making pop-up forms one of the most powerful tools for your e-commerce brand. Let me show you a real example of an A/B test we ran for a brand and how it led to more money in their pocket. So this should be popping up on the screen. There was a brand, they had a pop-up form. We wanted to A/B test the difference between running a full page form and a pop-up form. No difference in messaging, no difference in offer. We were simply going to run it either as a pop-up form on the screen or a form that took up the full page. Now, as you can see in the numbers here, on the full page form, they did this much revenue. It was, I don't know what the maths is, $45,000 in revenue. On the pop-up form, they'd done pretty similar, $45,000 in revenue. However, what you will see is the pop-up form had many, many more visitors in this time period. So if you actually crunch the numbers, the full page form was doing about $2.23 per person who saw the form, whereas the pop-up form was only doing about $1.81 per person who saw the form. Changing this form from a pop-up to a full page both increased the opt-in from about 9% to 11% and also increased the dollar per viewer by 42 cents. If you're getting 20,000 views of your pop-up form per month, that's an extra $8,000 in first order revenue, which is a huge win for any brand. And you think about the point I was making in part 1 of this video of being able to increase your CAC. If by testing your pop-up form, you can get an extra $8,000 in first order revenue in a 30-day period, that directly influences what you can spend on ads because you know now you're getting an extra $8,000 from these first-time customers. You see how these points can tie together. Directly, this pop-up form led to an extra $8,000 in first-time revenue, but it also ties back to point 1. The bottom line here, don't just focus on list growth, focus on quality list growth, but just like your flows, A/B test your pop-up form because improvements in your pop-up form are incremental direct revenue added to your bottom line. Now, let's talk about point 4. This is going to be a bit of a mixed point, but the fourth driver that I wanted to talk about are the indirect money makers of your email list. So we spoke about campaigns and flows, which are pretty easy to understand. You send a campaign, you make money. You send a flow email, you make money. You have a better pop-up form, you make more money. But what about the things that indirectly influence dollars in your business? And these are just as important. Firstly, deliverability. Deliverability is a misunderstood thing. People think it's, are you landing in spam or are you not landing in spam? Where realistically, deliverability is a spectrum. There will always be a percentage of your emails landing in spam. It might be 0.001%, it might be 20%, but there's always gonna be someone who receives your email in a spam folder. The real key here is keeping this percentage as low as possible. Say right now, 5% of your emails are landing in the spam folder. If you can get this to 3%, that is a massive incremental driver of how many people are seeing, opening, clicking, and buying from your emails. The lower you can keep this percentage through good management of your segmenting and your domain health and your deliverability, the more money you will make from your email list. This is an indirect benefit. Secondly, post-purchase experience. This is a massive driver of customer retention. Now, your post-purchase experience is going to be influenced well outside of your email and SMS. It could be things like shipping, packaging, does the product actually work, all of that jazz. But through your email and SMS, you can increase the likelihood that someone has a good post-purchase experience. You could have a post-purchase flow which educates the customer on how to best use your product, how to care for your product best so they don't shrink the t-shirt in the wash, all those sorts of things. You can educate them on shipping timelines, give them an idea of what they can expect. All those things are going to lead to a more seamless customer experience, which means the customer is going to have positive connotations with your brand when they think of you. These are all intangible things that influence that customer experience, and the more positive that is, the more likely someone is going to return to buy from you in the future. Thirdly, UGC collection. You can use your email flows to collect UGC from your customers. Now, we're in an era of e-commerce where creative is everything. Everything in your ads, everyone's talking about creative, organic creative, everything is creative driven. The more creative, the better creative you have, the more money you're probably gonna be able to make, provided you have a good product and all that other stuff. You can use email flows to collect UGC from your most loyal customers on autopilot and essentially create this flywheel of content, giving you unlimited content, which is a massive asset. So that's one thing I recommend for sure. My fourth point here is data collection. You can use your email and SMS marketing to collect data from customers who are buying from you, which can help you make better decisions with everything you do in your business. Say you've had a customer who's bought from you once, twice, 3 times, whatever you want it to be. Use an email flow to send that customer a survey, ask them a list of questions that you're curious about, what brought them here, what are the pain points they're struggling with, what type of occupation do they have, what gender are they, how old are they. You can get all of this data, feed that back to all of your marketing team, make better products, make better ad angles, make improvements pretty much anywhere in your funnel or on your product development, and make more money. Using your email and SMS marketing to engage or interact with your customers this way is one of the strongest things you can do. Now, my last point here in terms of indirect drivers, and there's plenty more, but this is the last one I'm going to touch on in this video, is treating your unengaged email subscribers correctly. Through a platform like Klaviyo, you can very easily see who is no longer interacting with your store or with your emails. From there, you can put together targeted campaigns or a targeted strategy aimed at re-engaging these people. It's a hard thing to do, but if you do this correctly, that's incremental money in your business and less money you got to spend on ads trying to retarget these people. The bottom line of this section is to look at the bigger picture of your email marketing. It's not just campaigns and flows. There's so many indirect drivers or indirect ways that you can improve the performance of your email marketing. For example, say you have an agency on board, they send a campaign, it makes 10 grand, great. But what if they've also reduced how many times your emails are landing in the spam folder? They've taken it from 10% to 5%. That's going to have massive compounding effects in the future. You need to be looking at the bigger picture of the actions you're taking in your email account. Now, the last main point of this video, we can sort of call it driver number 5 or point number 5, attribution. Attribution is a hot topic. And the reality is there's no perfect answer. Everyone's gonna debate it till the end of time. Klaviyo, Meta, Google, all these platforms, they're all going to attribute sales that potentially would have purchased anyway and that they hardly had a hand in. Someone might have seen 25 Facebook ads, then they Google you and the Google ad attributes it. Someone might have seen 10 Facebook ads, then they get an email campaign, they buy from that, and Klaviyo attributes it. Attribution is a nightmare. But when it comes to email marketing, you still can't neglect how much of a pivotal role this plays in the conversion cycle. Someone might have seen 5 ads, not converted, then they get a really good email campaign, and that's what tips them over the edge. A great incremental driver. The email might have only been the cherry on top that got that person to buy, and it might have just had a good offer, or it might have just handled that one objection that got them over the line, but that's still important nonetheless. And there's some important key ideas to consider here when you're thinking about it. Email's a channel that's going to assist in the conversion cycle much more than it's going to get like a direct close, for example. There's a slim chance that someone on your email list has never seen your ads. Like, they know who you are, they know who your brand is. Email's going to help drive more of those people over the line and help more of those people come back, as opposed to getting someone from 0 to 100% closed and buying from you. Secondly, a customer probably needs to see about 7 to 10 touch points before they consider purchasing, and email can help do that at a much cheaper way than ads. And like I said in point 1, this makes every other channel more efficient. And now this isn't to say that email doesn't directly attribute key sales. If you actually go, I challenge you right now, go to one of your Klaviyo campaigns. I've done this plenty of times for people who are a bit suspect about attribution. Go to one of your Klaviyo campaigns, click on the conversions, go through the profiles. Click through those profiles, you'll be able to see all the actions they took before purchasing. I guarantee you a good portion of those conversions clicked the email and either bought straight away or abandoned a checkout or a cart and then bought straight after that. Anyone who says that all email conversions are solely coincidental has purely not looked at the data of sending email campaigns. But let's say you're in the camp of you don't want to trust your Klaviyo attribution. You don't think it's legitimate, you think it over attributes, you're a bit suspect on it. Here are some other metrics that you can focus on. Cohort LTV growth, so get a cohort of people and measure how their LTV is influenced over time. 60, 90, 180 day LTV growth, with when you perform particular email marketing campaigns or pushes over your retention channel, see how your LTV is influenced in the 60, 90, and 180 day time horizons. Customer retention rates, just generally how many customers are coming back over time, is this improving? Cohort retention rates, how does a particular subset of customers come back over time? So when it comes to measuring the success or the performance or trying to get a clear understanding of email marketing attribution, you can measure all those metrics, and you can also just measure the attribution in the Klaviyo dashboard. Coincidentally, these are also usually the brands who best understand their numbers and get the best scale and the impact on their ads channels. We'll have a founder who really appreciates the insights of improving deliverability or the long-term strategy of re-engagement campaigns, and they happen to be the brands that scale the fastest. So here is some homework for you before we end this video. Work out if you're allocating your ads budgets effectively. What is being spent on new customers? What is being spent on return customers? Go to Klaviyo and check your revenue split between campaigns and flows. If your flows are less than 40 to 50%, you're probably leaving money on the table there. Check your pop-up conversion rates. If it's below 3%, you're definitely leaving money on the table there. Are you sending more than 2 email campaigns per week or more than 1 email campaign per week even? You should be shooting for 3. Go to Klaviyo and check your deliverability score. If this is below 70, there's plenty of work to do there as well. Do all of these things, consider the points I've made in this video, and you will be well on your way to having a more successful email marketing channel. I hope this video has helped and has given you some clarity on how email marketing and SMS marketing can actually lead to more dollars in your pocket, which is the most important thing at the end of the day. If you like this video, make sure you click like, subscribe. There's going to be plenty more content like this on my channel.